Hi everybody, welcome to Kidzlink Elementary Online. It's so great that you plugged in today. Today is the start of a new month for us. So we are talking about a new topic. It's determination. Now, have you ever heard that word before? Determination. We define it like this. Determination is deciding it's worth it to finish what you started. So, in life, sometimes we get stuck, and it takes a lot of determination to get us unstuck. For example, maybe you're familiar with this. This is slime. Raise your hand if you have ever played with slime before. Raise your hand if your mom lets slime in your house. Very cool. So, our activity today is in this slime that I made, we have all of these Legos, and they are stuck. And it's going to take some pretty intense determination to get them unstuck. So our game is to find something super sticky in your house. Maybe you have some slime. Maybe you have some sand or dirt or mud in your backyard. Maybe you can go online and learn how to make some oopleck. That just takes some cornstarch and water. There's a lot of different options, and definitely get your grown-ups involved in deciding what kind of messy, slimy substance they would like you to play with today. But after you get some sort of messy, slimy substance, you're going to put a lot of little toys in it. Now, it could be Legos, it could be Shopkins, anything small and plastic and pretty durable, right? Stick it in your slime and mush it all up, because then we're going to try to get all of these toys unstuck. So you can do this like a relay race if you want. Maybe you have lots of people in your house and you can have people run up to the slime, get it unstuck, clean it off, and drop it in a bucket. And then at the end of a minute, the bucket with the most toys wins. Or if you want to play just by yourself, have someone set a timer and see how many toys you can get unstuck in a minute. All right, give it a shot and then come back and we'll worship.
was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I He has ransomed me, his grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the books of Matthew, Luke, and Acts.
When Jesus returned to life, roller coasters hadn't been invented yet. But as far as his friends were concerned, they might as well have been living on one wild coaster ride. Peter and Matthew might have gone over the whole story one more time as they walked the dusty roads from Galilee back towards Jerusalem.
Remember how it started? Jesus does all these miracles, thousands of people gathered to listen to him.
And we hear God's voice saying, "This is my son, and I love him."
But then he gets all those threats from the religious leaders.
And he ignores them all and raises Lazarus to life.
That lousy Judas betrays him,
The religious leaders arrest him,
and I run away like a fool.
and Jesus is killed.
But he comes back to life.
And now we get to hang out with him.
I think he's got big plans. Did you hear how he told me at the lake to take care of his followers?
And what he said to us all on the mountain in Galilee.
About making new disciples?
Yeah. So you must go and make disciples of all nations, baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, Teach them to obey everything I have commanded you, and you can be sure that I am always with you to the very end. Big job.
How do you remember all this stuff?
I record it.
You should write a book sometime.
I'm still not so sure about the Holy Spirit part.
Same.
But Jesus is here with us now. We can do anything while he stays with us.
Forever!
Ahead, Peter and Matthew and the other disciples could see Jerusalem in the distance, the temple rising above the other buildings.
He said to meet him back in Jerusalem.
For the Feast of Pentecost, probably.
That would be the perfect time for him to do something big. If he wants followers in all nations, that must mean we take over Israel first, right?
I don't know about the takeover part.
As Jesus' friends returned to Jerusalem, Jesus led them to a hill outside the city, near Bethany.
Nice view of the city from here.
I bet he's finally gonna give us all the big plan now.
He already did. Make disciples of all nations.
Yeah, but how? Is he gonna gather 50,000 people at Pentecost? Or maybe he'll take us all with him on an epic road trip?
He probably wouldn't have brought us all up here if he didn't have something big to say.
Sure enough, as they ate a meal on the side of the hill, Jesus told them,
"Do not leave Jerusalem. Wait for the gift my Father promised. In a few days, you will be baptized with the Holy Spirit."
There's the Holy Spirit thing again.
Peter couldn't take it anymore. He had to ask,
Lord, are you gonna give the kingdom back to Israel now?
Everyone stopped talking, then looked to Peter, then to Jesus, who shook his head.
You should not be concerned about times or dates. The Father has set them by his own authority. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you. Then you will tell people about me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria. And you will even tell other people about me from one end of the earth to the other.
The disciples exchanged glances.
Okay, you did say the all nations part already, but where will you be?
And please, can you explain how the Holy Spirit's going to help us?
As Jesus smiled at his friends, he lifted his hands and spoke a blessing over them.
He's not answering the question.
As Jesus was speaking, something incredible happened. Slowly, he began to rise into the air.
He's standing in the air. How is he standing in the air?
Jesus' friends stared, mouths open. Soon, a cloud hid him from view, but they continued to gape.
Men of Galilee.
The disciples blinked and finally looked down to discover two tall men dressed in white standing right beside them.
Why do you stand here looking at the sky? Jesus has been taken away from you into heaven.
But he will come back in the same way you saw him go.
Come back? Come back when?
But the men in white were gone.
He did say, don't be concerned about times or dates.
But he just gave us the biggest job ever. Tell everyone in the whole world about him? There's gotta be a plan.
The Holy Spirit. I think the Holy Spirit is the plan.
But we don't know what the Holy Spirit is.
Jesus said to wait in Jerusalem.
So, wait. That's the plan?
That's the plan for now.
Jesus gave his followers what seemed to be an impossible job: share the story of Jesus and his love for every nation across the entire world. But soon, he gave them everything they needed to not only start the job, but keep going.
It must have felt impossible for the disciples to do what Jesus had asked them to do. I mean, how could they get his message all over the world? Sometimes things seem impossible for us to do. But when things seem impossible, that's when we can remember that God is always with us. And here's the basic truth: we can trust him no matter what. I want to read this to you. From the beginning, God had a plan to rescue us. That's why he sent Jesus. Jesus knew that he was eventually going to have to leave his disciples behind. He died, rose again, and gave his friends a mission and a promise. Jesus told them he would send a helper, Holy Spirit. With the help of the Spirit, the disciples could find the determination they needed to share the good news about Jesus, and we can continue their mission today. Just like the disciples, we can keep going when it seems impossible. Remember, God is always with you, and He can do impossible things. It might feel impossible to learn all of your spelling words this week, or it might feel impossible to make up with that friend after you guys had a fight, or share the remote with your sibling. But we know that God can do things that seem impossible. We can pray for help and make the first move to make up with our friend or our sibling. So here's the bottom line. Keep going, even when it seems impossible. Our memory verse for this month is Galatians 6:9. It says, "Let us not become tired of doing good. At the right time, we will gather a crop if we don't give up." Now, let's head over to small group and learn more about how God can do impossible things.